Hello, this is Armand Castro from Evil Planet Studios or Nevermore Graphics, whatever is better for you. So, um, you'll probably, I'm just going to go ahead and upload this one instead of the first one. So you probably will not hear about the first one, and there's a good reason because I talked about pretty much everything and nothing at the same time. And at the end of the whole thing, it was just a really weird podcast. There was nothing wrong with it except um, I couldn't keep on a single topic, and therefore it was all super strange. I mean, it wasn't just like nobody would listen to that. So, and I always do that with my podcasts. I guess I don't like to listen to myself speak, and I assume no one else does. But who knows? For that reason, I would like you to uh, hit the like button if you actually like this stuff, and leave a comment and tell me what you want to hear me talk about. Because obviously, if you don't say anything, which has been the case with many of my videos, there's not a lot of engagement. I don't know if people actually like them. And yeah, I don't know if I should keep making them, or if there's no engagement, I assume nobody likes these. So therefore, I don't bother making more of these, right? So yeah, just uh, just try so we both know, so we both are happy. Uh, so yeah, the last one I didn't really I didn't stammer as much as this one, just because I just listened to myself speak, and I realized I wasn't talking about anything in particular. Like I wouldn't finish a topic, and mostly because I am really just concentrating about doing these things. And I mentioned in that video that I wouldn't make these as tutorials because there's a whole lot more better and bigger tutorials out there. So therefore, I didn't want to make one because I just wouldn't be teaching anything to anyone, and therefore I would just bore people to death. And I don't want that. I would like to make this a little bit more fun for all of us, and therefore, yeah. So anyhow, I wanted to pick a topic for this one, and that topic is going to be myself. I don't actually like to talk about myself, but I guess that's a good one to start with to break the ice. Jesus Christ, to break the ice. And oof, that came out so wrong. To break the ice, and so you know who is doing these things. So yeah, I don't really like talking about myself because people tend to think that I'm some kind of egomaniac or something like that. But there's nothing further from the truth. I don't really like the attention. I don't chase clout. Unfortunately, that's a problem for me because um, that's a problem for me because I need the clout. I need to remain um, hold on, trying to think. Um, I need to remain relevant, really. I mean, people need to know what I do and all that stuff. I need to post on social media and all that stuff. And I don't like any of that. I don't like fame. I don't even like fortune, really, except for when I need the money and I'm all broke and I'm like, oh, damn it, I wish I had a fortune. But yeah, I don't really like any of that. And unfortunately, I need to learn to love it or to at least live with it or like I have to make myself post on social media, right? I need to learn to post to social media and all that stuff and do the social media thingies, thanga thingies. You know what I mean, right? So yeah, it's not my thing really. I don't like it, but I have to do it because reasons. Because otherwise nobody knows about me, and therefore nobody can hire me or nobody can buy my products or whatever I'm trying to sell to survive, and pay rent and pay for my things, my food and all that stuff, you know. And therefore I have to learn to do that thing. So anyhow, just getting that out of the way. Um, so here's the thing. I'm doing a project that I wanted to release for Halloween, and it's not very Halloweeny. Or rather, it's not. I don't think I will finish in time. I'm working on a whole lot of other stuff, uh, and so it's kind of not coming along too quickly. But at least I suppose these are going. Jesus Christ, I hate it when this piece of crap just jerks me out of my place because I lost my place. Whatever I was editing, I lost the place where I was doing anything. So anyway, yeah, that was mainly the reason why I couldn't stay on topic earlier, because I would be working like right here and then this piece of crap would jerk me all the way there, all the way on the other side of the map, and I would just lose my place in the edition of this thing and also in my conversation. So, see, I don't remember what the hell I was talking about. So, right, so what am I doing? This is going to be a cemetery pack, and I was saying in the other one that I had no idea what I was doing because I've never done a one of these things. What do you call it? A podcast, and I have no idea what people likes to hear or listen or yeah, really just what kind of media people consumes. And at first, I wanted to do one of these to earn money, you know, with YouTube things. What do you call them? Uh, the revenue program or whatever the hell it's called. And at the end of the day, it was just like I realized that nobody ever listens to this shit to or nobody goes to my channel or anything, right? Excuse me, I'm all gassy because I'm having soda. I'm drinking cola. Um, so yeah, that kind of sucked because like I realized I'll never be able to profit from YouTube at all because nobody ever watches my stuff. So even at this time, I'm not sure if I'm just talking alone in my room or what the hell. hopefully not, because it feels super weird. So right now I'm doing the landscape, and that's what the engine calls it. This is, by the way, Unreal Engine, as you can see by this little symbol. So this is Unreal Engine, and I'm doing a landscape. The landscape is nothing but the terrain that is going to go on this thing. And ideally, you will get to see this thing take shape in front of your eyes. Ooh, you can see me. You can see me. I'm doing gestures at the camera like this. Ooh, magical. But yeah, I don't. I'm all dirty and haven't taken a shower or anything. So maybe face reveal at 20,000 likes. I don't know. I wasn't planning to put my face on this thing. It's no secret what I look like, because I have like several videos on this thing. So pretty much, if you are on my channel, you can just go back way back, and you can look at a younger version of myself making an ass out of myself. Fun times. So yeah, there you go. You can just look at me. Look at me. Let's go with. Hold on. Damn it. So who am I? I suppose I should start with. See, I'm already. What do you call this thing? Um, I'm already stalling because I don't want to talk about myself. I don't enjoy talking about myself. I don't like the attention. Why? I don't know. Because maybe I used to receive a lot of attention back in the day. Why? Because I am an immigrant and I look different from the people who live here. Woo! Anyhow, so yeah, I was born in Russia. Uh, I was born in Russia. I'm. See, what did I tell you? Piece of crap. I hate it so much. Damn it. See, I lost my place again. I think it was here. Right, yeah, it was here. So I was born in Russia. Uh, I came to live to Mexico a long time ago. A long time ago. That's in '89. I came here in '89, and I came speaking only. Um Russian. In fact, the very first word I learned, it was on the plane. The very first word in Jesus Christ. The very first word in Spanish was semáforo, I think. My mom taught me that word. I don't like that valley there. You know what? Let's just make it. There we go. Actually, a little bit smaller. So, yeah, I mean, I came here in '89. Is there more valleys like that? Because I didn't like that. Oh, and I remember why we have the valleys. Because I had already started doing this shit. I just realized it's not. I just realized what the problem is here with me. I mean, that I have ADHD. I can't stay on topic for the life of me. So yeah, I came to Mexico in 1989, and I came here as a little immigrant, and I didn't know how to speak Spanish, so my parents kept me at home a lot. and I watched television. Uh, I watched the telly a lot, and so I started learning Spanish watching the telly, and it was a weird experience because everything was so different. Everything was so freaking different and crazy to me. Obviously, oh Jesus Christ. Obviously, it wasn't really. It wasn't really that crazy and it wasn't really that insane, but to me it was because I didn't know. Uh, Jesus Christ. To me it was because I didn't know the culture. Like my parents at least had the piece of crap. My parents at least had the foresight of learning more about the culture and the country, and they knew what they were getting into. I came with them, really. So I had no idea what I was doing. Like, and that's a recurring theme in my existence. I mostly have no idea what I'm doing most of the time. I think we should bump it up, Jesus. Okay. I can't wait to finish this part because I'm getting really, really, really aggro about this crap. And I know it's partly my shitty rig, which there's not much I can do about that except buy a new one that is better. But guess what? I ain't got no money. So yeah. Wow, that looks so shitty. Why is this shit not doing anything? Oh, okay. So yeah, I learned to speak English. I mean Spanish, watching TV. That's another topic, another thing that comes. That's another recurring theme in my life that I learned everything on my own because I just can't help it not knowing. And Jesus. And yeah, so I learned to speak Spanish watching television. And sorry, see what I'm telling you. This is so annoying. Actually, let's smooth this out. Yeah, so I learned. I keep repeating that part. So I learned to speak Spanish watching Mexican television, and it was fun for a while. And then I, like learned to communicate. But my parents didn't know. They were like, "Oh my God, this imbecile is helpless in this country. He can't speak Spanish." I had a really shitty memory. I mean, I still have a really shitty memory. But yeah, they were really worried at what would happen if he gets lost. What would like what would happen if I get lost or like damn it, like what would happen if I go out and get lost or that kind of thing, right? But they had no idea I already spoke like fluent Spanish. So one day my dad leaves me with his friend and goes to do something, I don't know. He goes out, he leaves me with his friend, and his friend spoke Spanish. Excuse me, spoke Russian as well. So we were just hanging out. He was like babysitting. I was, I think, 8 at the time. So his friend was babysitting, and I start an actual conversation with him in fluent Spanish, and he was like, "Wait, I thought you didn't speak Spanish," and I'm like, "Nope, I I'm fine. I'm all right. What about you?" He was like blown away because I had like a couple of months here in Mexico. So, long story short, my parents come back and they are like, "Oh, thank you very much for babysitting Armando. We know it might have been a pain in the balls because he doesn't speak Spanish, and he's like, oh, but he's he's completely fluent, dude." And they're like, "No, he's not." And he's like, "Trust me, he is." So yeah, that's how my parents found out I speak Spanish. And from that point on, they let me go out, like make little new friends and all that shit. And uh, that was a thing. So I mean, my I started like school, and I was like a super weirdo, so I had no friends. Like the teachers would say, "Oh, this is your little new friend. His name's Armando. He's Russian." And I think from that point on, everyone assumed that I would be like a cataclysmic asshole because I was from a different country. So they just ran with that. So that would like make things super hard for me because people would be a lot of a lot of the time, they would be like super uh, uh, what do you call it, hostile, and I would be like, "Hey, I'm just like," and then on top of that, the language barrier, because even though I spoke like fluent, I spoke Spanish fluently, I just didn't understand the culture, and I still, to a certain extent, don't. Some things. Uh, I don't think there is a culture I understand like fully. But anyhow, that's topic for a different day. So wait, hold on. What happens if I press Shift? It does the exact same thing. Okay, sorry, made myself laugh. Uh, so yeah, it was challenging to make new friends or to keep them, right? Really, because like I said, people would be like super hostile to me because they thought I would be like a dick. And I just didn't know any better. I just had no idea what was happening because I was too little to understand anything at all. And so, hold on, there we go. So yeah, that was a challenging uh, childhood. So a lot of the time I spent was reading my mom's magazines, which were uh, Reader's Digest and what do you call that thing? Hold on, National Geographic, National Geographics, and obviously Lady magazines, which I didn't care much for. There was another, uh, I think, Popular Mechanics. No, that wasn't it. It was like a scientific divulgation kind of thing, scientific magazine. So that's where my love for science came from, and I learned to do a lot of things thanks to reading, to becoming a little bit more culturally diverse through those magazines. And also, the reason why my culture is mostly Euro American. So it's mostly, they were mostly either British or American publications talking about either British or American things. And most of the culture I absorbed during those years was essentially just either American or British, and therefore I am super annoyed at this fucking thing. I'm sorry. So yeah, let's change the fall off a little bit. The radius. Oh my fucking god, this is so annoying. I swear to God. So what happens if we go here with erosion? Right. Let's go with 512. 0.15. No, that's way too much. 0.05. I don't like this. That's the thing. So yeah, I learned to do a lot of things because uh, it helped me a lot to understand different things through the things I learned. I read, and that also expanded my vocabulary, make me sound like uh, uh, one of those guys who thinks they're better than the rest because they use like super uh, super what do you call it, like a language that is very contrived, and like someone with a big vocabulary, that's what I'm trying to say. That was super annoying too because I didn't know that. I just thought, well, I learned a new word, I should use it. And apparently people like it when you speak like an imbecile. So apparently you need to speak like an idiot so people understand you and don't think that you're trying to present yourself as better than them, because they get offended for some reason. I never understood why. Like, that doesn't make, like, knowing more words doesn't make me better than anyone else. It just means that I know a couple of words. That's all it means. But apparently people get offended if you know more words than them. Anyhow, so that also contributed for me to have no friends as well. So that made me go more into books and shit. So yeah, I didn't read a lot of books. That's another thing that I kind of envy from people, because I didn't read a lot of books. I read more magazines. That's the thing. God, my hand hurts. I've been working uh, all day, all week, all month, all you know, the drill. I haven't stopped. So yeah, fun times. So yeah, but that's where my love for horror started, because a lot of these books start. Jesus Christ! A lot of these books talked about very grim subjects. Jesus, fuck! I lost my place again. Well, when life gives you dicks in the ass, you should. I'm sorry, I'm very annoyed. I'm not a happy camper right now. So yeah, um, I lost my place again. So yes, I was talking about where my love for. Um, on the other hand, like changing gears for a second, um, turns out my mom is an artist, and that's what I grew up with. I grew up with classical music. I grew up with uh, well, paintbrushes, oil paints, and watercolors, all this stuff that isn't as common for everyone else. I didn't know it at the time, that was my reality, but yeah, that was a very important part of my formation as an artist because my mom gave me some classes as well. So I learned from her everything I know about art. Jesus Christ. I think I can find my place here. Um, but yeah, I mean, sorry. Yeah, I learned a lot of things from my mom, who, and I watched her work as well. So that's also helped a lot. Um, Sorry, I'm thinking what's the next logical step. Yeah, I guess that looks fine. So I learned, Jesus. So I learned a lot about art from my mom, who, by the way, is an amazing artist. I'm going to ask for her permission to share her work because obviously I don't have it, and I don't want her to get mad at me like, you little bastard, you ingrate motherfucker. I'm gonna get demonetized, just like with the other one. So yeah, I learned a lot, a lot from her. If it sounds like I'm all over the place, it's also because uh, I am concentrating on working on this thing, so that takes part of my mental capacity. So that's one reason. So anyhow, uh, see what I'm telling you. All right, so let's go here. So yeah, so annoyed right now. You can't even. You can't even. Let's try flattening this area. Oh, nice. It froze. Piece of crap. I can't wait to finish this part of the project because I'm already super annoyed. I had already made this mountains. Fucking shit. I had already made this mountains, and turns out this space here, right here, this area was way too little because it has to fit a whole freaking cemetery there. So yeah, I I don't know. Um, yeah, basically, I was. Hold on. That valley was way too small, and I should save it. Yay, Minecraft! That valley was way too small for anything at all, and it looked horrible. So I had to expand, and I had to start over with the mountains. You would see it if you saw the other, the number one, episode one, which I'm not going to upload. But anyhow, so I learned a lot of things from my mom, who's, by the way, a very talented artist. And like I said, if she lets me, I will post her portfolio here, or rather, I will post link to her portfolio here because I don't want her to feel like uncomfortable with a lot of people going through her. Excuse me, through her thing. Anyhow, point is, I learned a lot of stuff from her, and that was all I knew how to do. Like I tried to get works. Uh, in other places, but it was mostly a desk clerk. And I did some like like applications, right? I did some applications, and I realized that's all I can do, like art. Suck. I suck really, really hard at a lot of things, and yeah. And another thing I discovered was that I also happen to hold on. I mean that too, but no. Hold on. I don't like this ridge. Don't like that ridge right there. I mean, those exist, but those are more common in mountainous areas. And these I want them to be hills. So yeah, Jesus Christ. Okay, right. So yeah, I learned a lot from my mom, and most of what I learned was just art stuff. Why do we have that weird shading there? I don't like that. See, another ridge. I don't like those. I mean, not that I don't actually like ridges. I meant I don't like them here. Because that's what happens if we flatten them. So I learned a lot of art from my mom and decided that's what I want to do for a living. But surprise, surprise, that's not a thing you can do in Mexico. Nobody here buys art. And by that I mean that I tried for years and years and years to find a job in art. And it's like in most of the world, people think it's just a hobby and it's not a job and anyone can do it. And it's super disappointing, really. Like, it's soul crushing to be an artist and people thinking that you just that what you do is just useless to society, right? So I tried to get a job in this art stuff and nobody would ever hire me for anything related to art. I tried to sell, I think that was one of the last things I tried to do, is selling uh, wow, Jesus Christ, so annoyed. um, I tried to sell handcrafts. I started making uh, bracelets and bracers, and sometime I'll show you. I'll show them to you if you behave. No, if there's enough people asking for it, of course I'll show you what they look like. But I don't even think this is going to be heard by anyone. I'm talking alone here. Right, where was I? In the conversation and on this fucking map. Right. So yeah, man. I mean, super disappointing. I put my sweat, blood, and tears into those works, and people wouldn't give me here more than I don't know how much would that be. Uh, trying to convert to dollars. What was it? Uh, like $3, and the quality I was going for was alchemy gothic, if you know what that is. Actually, I don't like this area at all. what is it? Let's go with point 1. Yeah, let's redo this whole area. I don't like it. Point 0.01. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. So yeah, what was I using? Erosion. So I want I want some kind of elevation here, but not too strong. Let's go there. Oh, Jesus. I lost my place again. I think it was here. Uh-huh. So I was going from alchemy gothic kind of style. Back then I was still learning, so a lot of my work was really just a glorified ripoff of things I've seen elsewhere. So alchemy gothic is the is what I was trying to be really, and it didn't make any difference really whether I was copying alchemy gothic uh, or I was doing my own spiel, which by the way I was starting to find my uh, artistic identity back then. Uh, Sorry, I'm still. Also, I'm just realizing this stuff is hanging weight. See, that's what happened the first time. I just didn't pay much attention and ended up covering a lot of the game area. So let's go like that. Uh-huh. Shit. Right. So yeah, it was super soul crushing because uh just couldn't sell for a lot. It was just everything related to art would sell super cheap, and people weren't. It's not that they weren't able, because a lot of them had money. It just they didn't think it was it was worth anything. Not I was taking it personal really, but it had nothing to do with me. Just the culture. People didn't appreciate art, and therefore they just wouldn't pay a lot of money for art, and that kind of hit hard because I wanted to uh, do something art related and I wasn't able to. So all the jobs I would get was just wow, it just flung me across the stage again. They were just related to freaking uh, desk clerk or like fucking janitor or some shit like that. Because that's basically all I can do if it's not art based. So that was super depressing, and those jobs were super like being a waiter sucks. Being a waiter sucks, man. I mean, my boss was like super nice dude, super kind and very nice person. But again, the job just sucks. And there's people who like to do that. I don't. And there's nothing wrong with the people who actually like. Fuck me in the ballsack. Wow, this stream or this podcast is going to be full of curses. I'm very sorry. Maybe I should put some kind of disclaimer in there. Like, I'm just going to curse a lot. Um, so yeah. Wow, what the hell was that? hmm So yeah, my thing was like I was super depressed about it, and and I thought I never even not I'm not even talking about make it in life. I wasn't that wasn't even on my mind back then. I'm just talking about like do what I like to do, and it's not even what I like to do. It's what I realized I can do properly, and that I can do right. Because I realized I can't like treat. Uh, maybe that's because of the autism, but I don't deal very well with people. It's not that well I hate them now, but I used to actually like people. I just sucked at interpersonal stuff, and therefore I would give a lackey um, service to the customer because I had no idea how that stuff works. Now at least I can fake it, but back then I had no idea what I was doing, and that whole thing was terrible. But anyway, meanwhile, my love for art and stuffs that have to do with art was growing. I was like looking for like the internet was starting, so I would look for a lot of horror stuff. I started to get more independence from my parents, so I started to uh, like look for horror movies. I started to go to a blockbuster. And this was, by the way, this was still VHS. I'm talking about VHS. So I started to do like VHS stuff, like watch VHS. Then uh, what do you call those things? Uh, DVDs came out, and it was a whole new thing for me because I was like, oh my god, it took me forever to find to buy a used DVD VHS player. Now you're telling me that I have to buy a fucking DVD player. God damn it! So that was a thing. So in the meanwhile, I'm signing up to horror forums, and I started to talk to other people like-minded. I didn't speak fucking shit. I didn't speak a word of English back then, by the way. I just didn't. And I realized that nobody here likes horror either. So it was super hard to find horror fans here. So I ended up like Googling. I started Googling in Spanish, by the way. Back then there wasn't Google, so what was I using? Uh, I think this was Alta Vista, I think. Started using Alta Vista, and oh my fucking god, there was nothing about horror in Spanish. That was so annoying. So somehow I realized I learned a few keywords in English and started to obviously uh, just like horror or terror or I didn't even know how to search, so I would just use like repeat the ones that uh, that like the ones I could find that worked and just repeat them and make combinations and basically just find stuff and then go oh my god and just look at the pictures because I couldn't read in English. And by the way, at school, yeah, we had. I don't want to discredit the Mexican system. Like that's a whole different conversation. But I didn't want to discredit. I don't want to discredit the Mexican educational system. So the problem here was that I sucked at English. Uh, this is entirely my fault. I sucked so badly at speaking English, or trying to speak English rather, and ended up just not knowing how to Google. But I realized pretty early that uh, there is no Spanish speaking horror based site. So I had to start using a translator, which back then was Babel Fish. I think that's how you pronounce it, Babel Fish. And that shit was amazing, boy. I mean, I'm pretty sure the translation was absolutely horrifying, but I mean, heck, it was working for me. So I was able to now search in English, and I started learning words. Like, I can't really just even remember what my searches were like because this was way too long ago. So yeah, I I found myself in a forum. I started talking to people there in English through a translator, and holy fucking shit, some of them would get so mad at me. Like there were grammar Nazis there, boy. Holy shit! Oh god, it slugged me again. Now I lost my place. There were there were grammar Nazis there. Like holy shit! I was going like, why do you hate me so much? Some of them were like super kind, like extremely kind. Some of them would help me improve my English. A lot of there were in that particular forum. Most people were super nice to me. They were super kind, and I realized that Halloween was a thing as well. So I started to go to stores and just because I was broke almost my entire life, so I couldn't afford a mask. So uh, yeah, I would just go there and stare at the masks, and the clerics would get annoyed at me because uh, I wouldn't buy anything. So yeah, that part sucked as well. I don't like these mountains at all. And there isn't one to just like push and pull these things. Okay. Right. So that part sucked a lot. Not being able to buy stuff because the business owners would like get annoyed at me just not buying anything and just going to stare. But what the hell do you want me to do, right? So I didn't have any money. So anyhow, that made my love for horror and stuff even stronger, and I would uh, start to like that would start permeating into my work more and more and more and more. The little handcrafts I would make, they would have more themes with skulls and gothic things. I stopped just making cheap knockoffs of alchemy gothic. I would like have my own designs. They weren't, by the way, they weren't like actual rip-offs. It was just in the style of alchemy gothic. I mean, doing rip-offs isn't fun at all. So I would make my stuff in the style of Alchemy Gothic rather than just copying them. But still, I mean, it was in the style of someone else. So by this time, I'm already like I already got. Oh, Jesus Christ! I wait. Really? Pilot landscape. What is this? Fuck it. I don't want to fuck it up. I'll just save it. Minecraft. Sorry. Right. So by this time, I'm already. Uh, Sorry, I'm thinking here out loud. I'm hoping that when I get to Hydro, this would actually help, but I don't know. Um, so yeah, I lost my place in my head. Hold on. Balls. My allergies are flaring up. Fun times. Ballsack. Right. So my throat is closing. Hold on. Right. So um, I think I want to sneeze again. Fucking ballsack. Wow, that was sudden. I'm glad you can't see me. Right, so now I have a DVD player and I start to rent like I started like renting one a month, one film a month. Then they immediately changed to DVDs. So, by the way, who doesn't know what Blockbuster is? It's like old-timey Netflix, but they used to rent cassette tapes and later DVDs, discs that you would rent physically and then take to your house and then watch it and then come back like a kind of like a library, really. So anyway, uh, yeah, you would rent those things, and I started renting like a whole lot of them. I'm not even kidding. I started like with one a month, then DVDs came up, so those were easier to carry. So yeah, that quickly went out of control because I literally just finished a whole uh, what do you call it? The whole catalog. Because by the end, I was renting like 5 to 6 movies. Like after work, I would just go and watch the shit out of as much horror as I could. Uh, those talks with people from forums also were paying off because I met a couple of guys in the horror industry, basically in the hunting industry. So I met this dude, and I offered him like just went out and told him, "Yo, I can do this," and I made a thing. I don't really want to like in case I don't have permission to talk about these people, so I'm just not going to say their names. And if you want the clout, and you are that one guy who who hire me for the first time, be free to just say something, and I'll plug you in on the next one. Not the next one, because I'm probably going to record several of these. Nice allergies. I'm probably just going to record several of these, so they will come out staggered, like one today, one tomorrow, one the day after tomorrow. But I'm just going to be recording all of these one after the other. So yeah. Um, right. So where was I? Right. So this guy like didn't hire me, but bought what I had made, and I was like, wait, this shit sells. So I tried with a different person and said, yo, I can do this thing, and he bought it too. So I'm like, wait a minute, this could be a thing. And so I started just like selling to American uh, clients in the hunting industry, meaning haunted houses. Because back then that was all the rage. Now I think it's not such a good business, but back then it was like $1 million kind of, rather several $1 million a year kind of business. It was they were like a thing back then. Sorry. So yeah, so they were a thing. Those things were a thing, and people would buy. And these things that I sold were websites. Started doing websites. That's not what I wanted to do, and that's not what I imagined myself doing. I wanted to be a painter or a sculptor, and after that, I wanted to be a special effects artist for movies, but that wasn't possible because yeah, nobody would ever hire me for that. I just literally everyone, and well, to make a long story short, I started trying to like sell those things, and nobody would buy my art. So that was soul crushing. So to make a very long story way shorter than that, um, I started doing graphic design, and one of the things I did in graphic design, not for Mexico, I mean for the hunting industry in America. I did have to get a graphic design job here, which was also super soul crushing because really uh, it wasn't about talent. It was just do this thing, and that's it. That was all there was to it. Just uh, soulless design. It wasn't anything like really cool stuff. It was just lame text of colors over some random background. That was it. There was no afterthought. It was just all super generic. So that I didn't like that. I like the whole. Why is it not working at all? Sorry. Um. So yeah, that sucked ball sacks, and I quickly realized that I could just sell stuff to this industry, this new industry. I found out by then I was able to already, not fluently enough, but already like write phrases of my own rather than just go to some kind of translator. So I would go to this translator just for very complex, uh, very complex. Not even that complex. It was just I knew how to say where is the bathroom or where, how much is this? That kind of English, like tourist English. But I couldn't like talk to customers, so I depended a lot on freaking uh, on freaking, what do you call it? Depended a lot on, what do you call those things? Translators. So yeah, I depended a lot on translators to uh, be able to communicate, and suddenly I actually, wow, that looks so shitty. And suddenly I was thrust into this world where, well, I wasn't like helpless. I thrusted myself into it, but you know what I'm trying to say. So suddenly I was like in this world of cool stuff that I really loved, and I worked for a lot of companies. I like my work. I started to become somewhat famous, not really famous, but you know what I'm saying. Like, oh, that guy, his work is cool and cheap. He's affordable. That kind of famous, which isn't a good kind of famous, but I'll take it. I mean, we've already established, I don't know if in this one or in the last one, that I don't like fame or clout. It's just that if nobody knows who I am, I can't actually work. Because that's Jesus fucking Christ. That's what my, that's what my, that's what my job means. I need to, people need to know who I am. Otherwise, I won't have any customers or clients, or I won't be able to sell anything. So yeah, I'm trying to make my peace with that side of my line of work. So, oh, I don't like that. Let's add some more material over there. Oh, Jesus Christ. It's so annoying. Right. So, I lose my place, man. I lose my place. Damn. Right. So I was into this whole thing with about haunted houses and horror movies and all this shit. But what I really wanted to do was to be a sculptor and an artist, and I kept doing that. But soon I realized that nobody's buying that shit. Nobody's buying that shit. So at the very end of the day, I ended up just relegating those things to my shorts, to my short films, which you can still see in this channel. Uh, Not too happy, but I'm paying way too much attention to this area right here. This is all going to be in the background. Nobody's going to come close here and actually take a look at this, motherfuckers. I just don't know why I'm paying so much attention to these guys. And it's super annoying because see how this shit, see how my mouse pointer freezes. See, that's the problem right there. Like, it's super annoying to work like that, but that's the price I have to pay for being broke. I can't afford a better rig, so that's one of my limitations for now until I can actually buy a new one or something better. Okay, so where was I? I was working for the amazing Flabba Sorry. So I was working for the hunting industry, right? That was super cool. That was like a dream job to me. There were a lot of dickhead customers, but there were a lot of super nice people who I met, and we're still friends. Uh, I'm still friends with to this day. Not that I talk much to people anymore. I became very recluse, which is one reason why I'm fucking my ball sucking the dick. Sorry, too much profanity. I'm sorry. Well, hopefully no children will watch this garbage. Oh, dear God. Okay, so where was I? Which, by the way, if it bothers you so much, maybe you want to do my edition and bleep me out every time I curse, because I'm sure as hell not going to do it. I programmed OBS, my screen cap software, to just this shit goes the way I recorded. That's the way it goes. It goes up. I'm not going to touch it or anything. If you hear me fart, that's too bad. I apologize in advance. Don't worry, you won't. I will try not to rip one out. Anyhow, so I was working for this industry. This was so freaking cool. Um, I used to do websites, and I specialized in Flash. Not so much the website part, because I'm not. I'm a shit programmer. I know I ended up in the game industry, so take that with a grain of salt. Uh, but yeah, I hated to program. The thing, my thing was just Flash. Flash was the thing. And one customer, uh, he was a filmmaker, and he really liked my stuff. So he hired me for the web page of his film, and I made the web page of his film. And uh, he said, "Well, do you want to do some of the what was it? I think sound effects." And I was like, "Yeah, and I can do all this stuff too." And he was like, "Oh, sure, then do those as well." So he hired me for most of the film, except obviously the acting and the directing. He was the director and all this stuff. So yeah, that's how I ended up working for the film industry. But it wasn't like a huge film. It was a very, very, very small film in Australia. This dude was like, it's super awesome. He's one of the best human beings I've ever met. Super nice dude, super kind, very respectful. I mean, one of the best clients I've ever had in my entire life, to be honest. And yeah, I mean, I did that. That was my brief thing into the film industry. I had a few more, but it just those are not worth remembering so much. That's the one with the Australian dude. Again, I don't want to like name names or anything, just because. Damn it, because I don't want to get into trouble or people getting mad at me for anything. So I'm just gonna keep most names out of this. Anyhow, by this time, now fucking Flash was like, Apple said, you know what, we are not going to be accepting Flash anymore, because fuck you. And so most people who were hiring me for doing things stopped hiring me for doing things. So now I lost most of my client base, and I am screwed, dude. Because I had already quit my job. I wasn't making bank, but I had a fairly comfortable lifestyle, and now all that shit was gone. Because fuck Apple, that's why. So I didn't have any customers and all that stuff. So I was like super worried. Where am I? Hold on. Uh-huh. Yeah, this part. So yeah, basically, I don't think I need too much detail here. We're just going to be looking at this. There's too many peaks over there, and I don't like that. So let's erode them away just a little bit. Actually, let's use the bigger one, but first let's carve out some stone. Right. So I lost all my customers. I didn't have any customers at all because Apple decided to just stop all kinds of and soon most of the other browsers followed. So fucking shit. So I now didn't have anything to keep afloat, so I started doing odd jobs, but it was already a dying industry what I was doing. So long story short, I started to do uh, what do you call those things? Uh, Animation. And I started making stuff for animation because I wanted to get hired as an animator. Because the reason I started to do Flash stuff for web design stuff was because I was doing animation. So I'm like, well, I can't do Flash animation anymore, but this is still animation. So I started to offer my services as an animator, but nobody would hire me. So I was like, well, maybe if I make some portfolio, because by then all my portfolio was mostly just freaking uh, it was just websites. So I couldn't just show them that and say hire me for for video edition. How about that? So I started doing some video stuff, and hopefully I would get hired. And I didn't. I just amassed a stupid amount of video portfolio, and nobody would ever hire me. So I started selling that shit, like out of desperation. I went uh, to websites that sell that kind of shit. What do you call those? Um, oh my god, my hands hurt. Um, Sorry, I'm thinking about the next steps because do I even need all this wasted real estate? Because I could just bam, and now I gav yes, oof, yeah, but now it's all super slower. Let's not. Right. So out of desperation, really, I started selling my shit on sites like Pond5 and Storyblocks and all these other websites. I was like, well, I hope this sells because I have like 1 month left of food, and thankfully they did sell, and I was like, well, if that one sold, I'd make one better, and so I did, and that one sold, so I made one better, and so on and so forth, and soon I was making like two a week. Really, I was like, I have no life, so I started working like an animal on this shit, and thankfully those were selling super well. Back then they aren't anymore. uh, so in order to make my, by the way, you can see all those works here on this channel. You can just scroll. It's most of my work by now. Like, those are short videos. So yeah, you can just look at my portfolio, and it's mostly that shit. So you can look at those things, and you'll see that I start to use more and more and more 3D. And one thing that is uh, like a repeating theme, if you want to call it that, one thing that is a repeating thing in my life is just uh, I lack the resources to do things one way or another, so I have to adapt. And one thing I had to adapt is just make my 3D in such a way it can be rendered on my computer. Because remember, I'm broke, so I can't afford the like super amazing mega NASA computer. Can't render all this crazy shit. So I started making stuff like very, very, very cheaply in terms of things that can be rendered. Like, I wanted it to look like production quality, but I needed still to be rendered. I needed it to be rendered in a human amount of time. Like, I started trying to render stuff that would take me months, weeks to render, and that would paralyze my computer like for a very long time. So I was like, all right, so I can't make something too complex, or otherwise it's just not gonna render in a timely amount of time, while I could do other stuff and sell more stuff. So what do I do? Sometimes I would fake the 3D. I would just fake the three-dimensional stuff in After Effects, and sometimes I would just do the 3D in a very optimized way, let's say, and that helped a lot for the next step of my career, which is video games. And I decided to just make. I decided to just. Still, the allergies. My throat is closing up. I'm drinking cola, by the way. Which, believe it or not, caffeine is a antihistaminic. I think. I think it is an antihistaminic because every time I drink coffee or cola, it helps a lot with the allergies. I don't have an inhaler because my allergy isn't that bad. So yeah, I don't think it's worth it to just invest in inhaler or something like that when loratadine can do the trick just as well. Anyhow, where was I? So you see, I was doing the thing with the stuff, and I did that stuff with the thing, and then no, I'm sorry. Um, so yeah, uh, where was I really? Uh, yeah, right. So I started to do like 3D, and I was like, all right, I'm just going to upload this thing and see if it sells. And I uploaded some cheap 3D object I made for a one of my videos, one of my templates, and that thankfully also sold very, very well. Like I was selling several a week. I was like, oh, that is actually a thing. That is actually a good thing. So I made more of those smaller 3D objects, and those sold as well. And I was like, wait a minute, what happens if I if I make them better and more? What's the word? Uh, what happens if I make them more? What's the word? Ambitious. What happens if I get more ambitious with this 3D? Like there came a point where it was basically just close to production quality, and it would just be a fucking pain in the balls to render them and to bake the textures, and it was a thing that I didn't want to. I just rolled it back to video game low poly assets because I didn't want to. That was the reason I didn't want to go like full production quality because it would just be too difficult. It would be just too difficult and too time consuming to render and bake all these textures and all this stuff. And I didn't. Ain't nobody got time for that. So, what did you think? What do you think happened? Well, I just started to try to improve and improve and improve and improve and improve, and soon I was like ready for the next big step, which was just going to an actual game engine, which is this thing where I'm working currently. And that is basically a short story of my career. It's been super, super insane. And really, I have no idea what I'm doing half of the time. And that is because the landscape. see? See what I did there? Okay. Um, the landscape has been changing not only for me, but in general landscape. Now we have this fucking AI bullshit, which I'm super not happy about. But anyhow, we'll talk about that some other day. My strong opinions about AI and how we're all going to be fucked in the ass by it. We just are. We just are. Right. Right. So now I'm trying to get in this. What do you call this thing? Video game industry, and basically just trying to survive. Really, I know that a lot of people think that this whole art thing is still worthless and it's not a thing for society, but I'm sorry, that's all I can do. That's all I know how to do correctly or well. Or you could argue the best thing I can suck at, because I suck at many things. I just do. I'm not such an amazing uh, person at stuff, apparently. But that's, at least that's what I think. Maybe I'm just being harsh with myself. I don't know. Hold on. There we go. So yeah, uh, that's a story of my life, essentially, really as well, because they go hand in hand. My art style, and maybe I should like profundize, like go more in depth about these things, but I think I should first know what people want to hear. And if so, if you want to hear me speak or talk about something or something else or something at all, just leave a comment right down there. just leave a comment down there and let me know what you want to really want to hear, because I don't know what to talk about of these things, or even if people are going to be listening to this thing. So it's not that I'm chasing clout, or I want you to like leave a like. I want to genuinely, I want to know if people are listening to these things, if they like it, if they like them. If I see a lot of dislikes, I'm obviously not going to be uploading one of these again. If I see a lot of likes, I'll upload more of those. If I see comments saying, "Hey, talk about uh, how to get better at the thing," or "What else can you do," or whatever the hell you want me to talk about, just yeah, talk about those, and I'll see what I can do. Obviously, like I said, the next ones are not going to be about that, because I really going to just make more of these in a short amount of time. I'm going to be making more of these in a short amount of time, and that's what you'll end up watching if you actually watch them. Holy shit, this is annoying me so much. Wait, there. Right, so I don't like the way those shadows look. So yeah, man. I mean, that's that's mostly how I ended up doing this thing you're seeing. But um, yeah, if you want to hear more stuff, just let me know, because I don't know what people want to hear. So let's just finish this whole area, and yeah, we'll move on to the next thing. But I wanted to finish one area in each video, and I think I'll already drag this one along for way too long. And I don't want to be to end up like being tried for war crimes, for torturing people, like blubbering about stupid crap, which I'm doing now, by the way. So yeah, please don't hate me. So what I'm doing now is adding detail, and I shouldn't really add detail to these things, because it's mostly stuff that is going to be in the background, is going to be, first of all, out of focus, and second of all, uh, nobody's going to pay attention to this part, and I just can't, because the first time I did it was for the Japanese one. The Japanese, you can see the. I don't I'm calling it the Japanese one because I don't remember what I called it. That's simple as that. I have no idea what I called it, so I don't know what I called it. So therefore, uh, yeah, I have no idea what I called it. So it was just Japanese themed game level assets, and I had different internal names for it. So that's why I don't remember what's the one it actually went out with. Like in some iterations, I called it. What did I call it? Japanese onsen. In another one, I called it Shinto shrine, so on and so forth. I had different internal names for it, it was never meant to be like super well, it was meant to be generic assets because I didn't know what people are going to. But it wasn't. It was like generic, respectfully, right? Respectful to the culture. And so I made these uh, quote unquote generic assets. But I did my research. I learned what each asset is made out of, it's what it's made for, what it's used for, so on and so forth. I just try to make them as usable for everyone as possible. So if, for example, you wanted to make a, why does this look like ass? Ah, damn it. There we go. If you wanted to make it for, excuse me, if you wanted to use it for a a rural kind of thing. You could, if you if you wanted to use it for a, god damn it, if you wanted to use it for some kind of city, like not city. I mean, I guess it was the whole time for rural type things. So I misused my words there. Uh, let's just say if you wanted to use it for one thing, you would be able to, and if you wanted to use it for something completely different, you still would be able to because the assets are generic enough. Like if you make them like specifically for a a city shrine. Sorry, I got my words mixed up there. Uh, if you wanted to use it for a city shrine, right? If you wanted to use it for a city shrine, you would be able to. And if you want to use it, wait, no, I hold on. I kind of like, it's hard to keep my brain on track while I'm doing this, and at the same time I'm looking at the time, and at the same time I'm trying to think about the next step of this thing. Okay, so if I were to make like a city shrine, right? It has city stuff, and it's made for a city, literally for a city. And therefore, if I were to make a city shrine, I couldn't use it for a rural shrine because it has different things. So I wanted, and obviously it would not sell very well because there is not always people who want to make a city shrine or a city shrine. Whatever the case is, I needed to make it usable for a large group of people who could. Hold on, where is it? Radius. Oh, there's actually no strength. That's great. So I needed to make it usable for a large group of people who actually. Where am I? Erosion. Okay, good. There we go. For a large group of people who could use it for a lot of things and obviously sell better. Because obviously I need to pay bills, I have to pay for my rent, and these things also have to be done, right? By someone. Why can't that someone be me? I'm trying to. I'm excusing myself. I'm like saying a lot of excuses. I sound super apologetic for the path in life I took, but I'm just used to a lot of people just shitting on me because I'm trying to do art, and it's kind of like, yeah, but what I do is like has a value, right? And no, it's completely worthless. Go fuck yourself. Okay, right. So I try to make it as usable for everyone, so it sells better, right? And I forgot why I started. Oh yeah, I started talking about this about the mountains. So I didn't know how to make them, and that was the first time I made a thing like this, like an actual shrine. Excuse me, actual shrine, an actual game package, and it was the first time I did a level. Anyway, it was the first time I did many things, so I was learning. So the mountains there were part of the were a big part of the thing because it was a shrine, a Japanese Shinto shrine uh, in the mountains of Japan. Uh, and the mountains kind of really sucked because they were way more simpler than these ones. And I didn't know a lot about that. So I learned while I was doing them, I learned about all these tools and all this stuff. And I was like, well, right now in this one, I still have to do the objects and all this stuff. But for the next one, I am going to make better mountains. And now here we are in the next one, the proverbial next one. And yeah, now I'm doing mountains again, and I just couldn't. I mean, like I half-assed, not on purpose, really. I just didn't. I wanted to put my effort into the other parts, which were super complex, like laying the brick stones and all that stuff that was made all by hand. And yeah, hold on. Thinking about this stuff. Right, right. So I feel like I felt guilty for half-assing, and so I started like I did watch a bunch of tutorials on how to do mountains and all this stuff. I didn't pay much attention because again, that's not the focus of this thing. This is just to be in the background. But I just didn't want to half-ass again, like completely. I wanted to make these at least passable, really. Like let's just say to practice for when I really need to do a mountain-based type of thing. And here we are. Here we are. Which, by the way, speaking a little bit more about my history, uh, I used to be Catholic when I came here to Mexico. That's what I learned. That's what my parents taught me. That's what the country taught me because obviously the country teaches you something when you go live there. Uh, People there have certain customs, so that was one of them. The religion, and the religion was Catholic. I did learn something about Christian, some shit about Satanism. Yes, I met a lot of weird people, both Christian, Catholic, and some Satanists. You know, all kinds of people, and none really, none really like vibed with me. Not the people, I mean the none of the religions. Like that, there was something missing from there, and I know I said it either in this one and the other one that I wouldn't talk about religion, but it's not really a religion kind of thing here. I'm just talking about spirituality, really. And one of the things was oof. One of the things was what do you call that thing? Finding working on this thing, this Japanese stuff I told you about earlier. Because for it, I had to do a lot of research of what is this thing, what is that other thing, what is the other thing. I started listening to a wonderful podcast, which It's super awesome. It's here on YouTube. I'm not sure if I should like. Yeah, I'd rather not like name names for now. But if you are a fan of the podcast and you know what the owner of the podcast would want, I don't mind dropping names. Anyhow, um, yeah, man. I mean, uh, hold on. So I think that working on that project, which I was just going to go and make some generic ass uh, like Tori Gate and a couple of Toro lanterns, and that's it. Uh, just like wanted to just fact check and do them right. So started while I was doing other work. I started to listening to this Japanese horror story, Japanese ghost story podcast. It's super amazing, and their narrator is really good. I started to listen to this podcast, and that really like to get in the mood, right? Because I like to get in the mood before I start anything if I'm not like super familiar with the thing, right? Or start listening to documentaries, that kind of thing, right? So I started to listening to this one. What is it called? That one I don't mind like say dropping names. Oof! What the hell did I do? Whoops! uh, what is it? Damn it! I forgot the name. I can't believe it. Uh, it was like Peter Barakai. Hold on, I'm just gonna Google it because bollocks. And it's Barakan. Okay, Peter Barakan. There we go. English DJ. What? He's a DJ? What the? Yay, Minecraft. Hold on. He's known as the presenter of Begin Japanology. Right, in Japanology Plus. Plus. Yes, Plus. Japanology, Japanology Plus on NHK World, which if you haven't, you really should. If you haven't and you love Japanese culture, you really should. So I started listening to that while I worked and to those what do you call those things? Uh, Podcasts by this YouTuber. Freaking amazing. Screw it. I'll tell. I'll say I don't really care if she gets mad. She can tell me, "Hey, I hate your shitty crap. You should delete it." And I don't mind deleting anything. So it's not like fucking shit. Where the fuck am I now? This is so annoying. I lost my place again. Right. So her name is Tara A. Devlin. You can find her here. She has a here on YouTube. I mean, she has a wonderful, wonderful podcast here on YouTube called Kawabana or Kowabana. I don't know if if you have trouble finding it, I'll write it in the description. Just let me know in the comments down below. So, so yeah, if she doesn't like it, I don't mind deleting this whole video. It's nothing. Just doing this for myself. It's not like I'm. It's my livelihood. It's nothing. I'm just I wanted to do something. I wanted to talk while I worked, and here am I. I mean, here I am. God fucking damn it. Right. It's a little bit too strong for my tasting. Right. Let's add some more erosion there. So yeah, I started to learn more about Japanese culture, and holy shit, it's such a beautiful culture. I I just fell in love head over heels for Japanese excuse me, for Japanese culture. It's such a beautiful thing. And obviously I learned what a tori gate is and what a toro lantern is, and what a shimenawa is, and all this stuff that helped me make the Japanese project a little more authentic, but also, but also, sorry, I'm trying to concentrate in case I lose my place. I'm trying to memorize the because I see a lot of areas here that need attention, so I don't want to forget because the other ones where I actually forgot, rather, yeah, I lost my place and I forgot where it was. There was not so much of a problem because really, if you mess it up like that, you can just it just adds to the aesthetic because it's a random kind of thing at the end of the day. So that wasn't such a huge problem. But there's areas that look like ass if you don't do them well, like this one. Like there, that indentation has nothing to do there. So just need to correct that, right? So anyhow, one of the things that I ended up loving about Japanese culture is the religion, which is Shinto. And by no means I should call myself an expert or anything at all about that, but I really liked it, and I think that was such a huge part of my spirituality nowadays, like becoming Shinto. I'm still like a very long way, and it's mostly like me dabbling, and it's not that I believe everything that the religion says. I'm mostly atheist or agnostic. I used to be agnostic. I would call myself more an atheist now. There's a couple of things that I like to give the benefit of the doubt, like ghosts and UFOs, but mostly I'm like, yeah, that's I don't really believe in much. Like I lost faith horribly this past few years in humanity and otherwise. But yeah, I mean, I really like that addition to my spirituality, and I really like that to be more a part of who I am. And unfortunately, there is no Shinto shrines here, so that kind of sucks. There's no Shinto shrines at all here, and well, at least not in this part of the country. There is there is no Shinto shrines here, and yeah, there is no Shinto shrines in this area, and so it's kind of hard to be a part of a religion if there is no churches there, right? There's no other people. I can't talk to, hey, how do you pray? How do you do this thing? How do you put an offering? How do you do this or that? how do you mount a shrine? Do you mount a shrine? A kamidana? Because I want to do all that stuff. I mean, not for fun, but as part of the spirituality, I want to find my zen, like they say, that kind of thing. I mean, to each his own, but that's what I want to do with my life nowadays. And yeah, flatten. Should I flatten? I don't know at which point I should start adding, because I already made all these. The meshes they are already done, so it's not like I'm going to. Everything is already done, and I mean, you have that to look forward to watch me populate this cool level with stuff. But for now, I think I should just finish the platform upon which all this stuff is going to be placed, right? I just want it to look good, not just passable like in the Japanese level, but actually good. So anyhow, um, I do want to move to Japan some days because I really, really, really like how safe it's there, and I really, really, really like the people there. I like the culture. I like the food. I like the. I mean, being honest with you all, uh, I'm just gonna die here. I I can barely, not barely, but you know what I'm trying to say. Uh, I can't leave here. Moving countries. It's not just whatever. It's complicated. So yeah, it's gonna be kind of difficult to move anywhere, like for real. I don't like this ridge. Looks like a cutout, crappy cutout of that. So I guess we can start like, first of all, let's make it bigger. Wait, looks even worse. I was complaining about this looking like a cutout. Um, 0.1. Let's go with a smaller size like that. That was the whole fucking point of working on this thing, so they just don't look like cutouts. And now this one looks the most cutouty of them all. Right, so yeah, Japanese culture is such a beautiful thing. And the food is freaking amazing. If you haven't had the chance to try actual Japanese food, not the crap they sell you in restaurants, because that shit's fusion. And there's nothing wrong with fusion, just not authentic. And if you try the real deal, the actual uh, Japanese ramen or the sushi, that's the most stereotypical one. But there is a lot of other things like takoyaki, like yakimeshi, yakitori. There's a lot of stuff that is. Oh my god, I'm salivating. Holy hell, I need to get my ass to a Japanese restaurant right now. And it's 5 a.m. I mean, it's not that late at night anymore, but You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I don't know what the hell was that. So yeah, I mean, I love Japanese culture. You would think that I like manga or anime, and I don't. I mean, there's works that I like, but it's not because they are manga or anime. It's just, God damn it, radius. It's just because the work itself, it's amazing. Like Ghost in the Shell. Holy hell. Those are freaking amazing. If you don't know what Ghost in the Shell is, it has one of the themes I love the most, and I think uh, I'm gonna talk about that in an upcoming Franca para Taranca. I'm going to talk about that in the next video because that subject I'm passionate about. Boy, that shit's amazing. And what I'm talking about is existentialism. That's like one. That's my jam, man. I love that kind of shit. Uh, that and UFOs, and I recently found a new channel. Which now that I'm dropping names, I said I wouldn't, but screw it. Now that I'm dropping names, this channel called the Y Files. Absolutely amazing. If you like that kind of shit, like paranormal garbage. I mean, their stuff isn't garbage. The dude is a really good YouTuber. What I'm saying is I'm actually just digging myself a bigger hole. I mean, it's not like a real belief, right? I don't. At least I don't think that's a belief thing that you should take seriously. Like we live in a simulation. Yeah, what difference does it make? There is. I was gonna say it in Spanish, ovnis. There is UFOs. Yeah, what difference does it make? Are they going to actually? Uh, are they going to really abduct you? No, not really. I mean, that's not a thing you find in the news, and it's not because it's being. Uh, it's not because it's being. What do you call it? It's not being like hidden by the government. I forgot the word. It's not being suppressed. That's the word. It's not being suppressed. It just. I mean, we are in the age of freaking uh, cell phone cameras and all that shit. You should be able to see at least one abduction or one thing. There's nothing. It's not a thing. It's not really a thing that. All right, I think we're good with the mountain peaks. Let's go with some hydro erosion, thermal erosion. Oh, that's interesting. Really? What happens if we do this thing here? Wait, hold on. Let's. Oh, yeah. Let's not fuck with this. I don't want to break it. So yeah, let's try hydro erosion now, and it sucks. It sucks ball sacks. It's absolutely terrible. Let's go here. Okay. Right. So it kind of like washed out some of the detail I was adding. Damn it. Right. Retapo. Let's use noise because I wanted to add some more detail to these areas. And 32, or rather 32. Ah, perfect. So yeah, I mean, I forgot what I was talking about. Right. So I really love this paranormal subject, but I don't really believe in that kind of stuff. There's nothing wrong with people who believe in that, just not my cup of thing. But yeah, I kind of really would like some of that stuff to be real, like especially hold on, sorry, especially stuff like freaking life after death, right? Because that would be baller, right? To just continue existing uh, after death. But again, I don't believe much in that kind of stuff. I don't believe in ghosts or UFOs. I just like the subject, the topic, and this channel called the Y Files. It's just so really nice, and he presents it in such a friendly format. It's super fun to watch. Uh, there's a character there. I don't want to spoil anything, so go watch his stuff if you are into that kind of shit. I think we're done here. I mean, there's not much more I can do here. You know what? Uh, First of all, right. Just gonna add some noise here. Noise. Gonna add some noise there. Actually, I want to 0.01. Why is it making those horrible pock marks? Point 0.1 then. Screw it. Ooh, I like that, but we don't need that kind of shit there. Just wanted to add some noise there. Right? Just some, just so it's not completely even. And then as it's needed, I'm just going to be adding some stuff. There, see? That's much better, isn't it? And you know what? Let's add some more detail to these mountains. Oops. These mountain tops. Let's add some more erosion. That size. I don't like this peaky things. I don't like those peaky. Shouldn't it be hydro erosion though? Yeah, but it kind of washes out the detail. I'm not too happy, but fuck it. Yeah, I guess. I mean, it works all the same. And I add some noise after that, just so it looks fine. Ah, Jesus Christ! Should I make it smaller? Oh, there's another peak which I didn't like. Let's make it smaller and some hydro erosion. There's another one here, which I wasn't super fan of. Right. So, Ghost in the Shell. And for those who say the film isn't as good, it's pretty fine. It's pretty. It was beautiful to look at, and it had some of the beats of the game. Excuse me, the game, the anime. And if you process it just as a completely different thing that has nothing to do with the anime kind of helps it to go down. Like, I mean, I don't want to shit on the movie too much because it has its merit, right? I mean, it got many things right. Like Arumaki kind of looks very similar. Who else? Bato kind of Tugsa kind of really looks a lot like the one in the anime. I don't know, man. I need some more images. Some what do you call those things? Let's add some more. Wait, heft. Uh, I'm going to come back with some images. Resource. It's not resource. Reference. Jesus Christ. Kind of sucks to speak more than one language because I had a girlfriend once who shut on me a lot. That came out so wrong. Uh, I promise it's not unsexual. She would get super mad at me because I wouldn't be able to like remember words. And I'm like, bitch, I speak several languages. I'm fluent in Spanish and English and Russian. So please give me a break. It's not like I can. I mean, get my languages mixed up. And sometimes I remember in one language and not in the other one. But yeah, um, I think I'm going to need to come back with some decent references because Jesus Christ, because now I can't really. Uh, I mean, I'm worried this stuff will look like something else. That's not my. What happens if we? Oof, hell no. Okay then. Wait, actually, I think we can. Right, let's do that. Point. Jesus, 0.01. How about that? Yeah, I think we can smooth this up, smooth this out, rather. Then add some more noise, add it back. Because I'm thinking, I didn't like that protrusion came out way too much. I don't like that at all. Point one. Let's. Yeah, I didn't like that one bit. I mean, maybe that's what one of those look like. So yeah, I mean, I like also Chihiro. Like I'm not sure how I'm pronouncing it right. Is it Chihiro or Chihiro? The Spirited Away one. I really love the aesthetics and the design, but not because there is a lot of people who actually love. I got nothing against them, but loving something just for the sake of it being certain type of media, that kind of sucks. Oh, Jesus, that kind of sucks balls. That kind of really sucks balls because it takes away a lot of like you like this thing just because it's manga, or just because it's anime, and that bothers the shit out of me because it's not that it's manga or anime what makes it great. It's that the artist behind it, Hayao Miyazaki, it did such Jesus Christ, did such an amazing job with that anime, that just say loving it or saying it's great because it's anime, that just sucks because that takes so much away from the work of art itself. It's like saying I like Van Gogh just because it's impressionism, and it has a lot of things. It has anyhow. I'm just getting into a shitty rant, and I don't wanna. Point is, those are great regardless of the genre. I bet if it wasn't anime, I still love it. So yeah, I don't like to love. That came out. That came out super weird. But yeah, I don't like to love stuff just because it's a thing in particular. I want to love stuff because it's beautiful and well made. And that's what Ghost in the Shell and the other thing, Spirited Away, is for me. Super well done. And I also love Western animation as well, like the real Ghostbusters. I don't know. That's you see, that's a thing. Maybe that's just I need to rewatch it. But I remember the real Ghostbusters. It was such a great cartoon. Also, a lot of Hanna Barbera ones. The Flintstones. I mean, those aged poorly for me personally, because now I watch the Flintstones or the Jetsons, and I'm like, I don't like it so much anymore. It's not entertaining anymore. The Simpsons is an amazing one, an amazing Western one. Futurama from the same director. I love Futurama. And going back to the anime theme, Dragon Ball, the first ones. I saw recently the new one on a friend's TV. I came to visit him and he was watching it, and I was like, hell no. When did it become garbage? The animation is so terrible now. So anyway, I think we are rounding up this thing. I will come back in a few minutes, maybe a day or two for you. I still haven't decided my upload schedule, but if you hold on, Jesus Christ, this looks so freaking awful, this area here. I don't like it. Oof. Okay, point one. See, what breaks my balls is that I can't really work fluently. See, it freezes out, and it's super hard to work like that. So that's why I want to already force the ending of this thing, because I'm already running out of patience. I'm just gonna smooth it out. Fuck it. I'm already running out of patience in a very horrible way. I think I messed it up. Let's see. Right. So yeah, I really, 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 really like animation. Rick and Morty has some gorgeous animation. And I think one of my all-time favorites is Gravity Falls. Gravity Falls is an amazing one that I really, really, really fucking ballsack. That I really, really, really loved. And it was super, super, super nice to watch. And I think I cried at the end because that was super, super emotional for me. Especially because it hits close to home, really, like the type of topic and the subject and all that stuff. Close, really. Uh, uh, Sorry, I'm trying to get this area right. Ah, damn it. It's a topic and a thing that goes back way too long for my childhood, from my childhood and my a lot of things. So yeah, it was like super emotional for me, that type of thing. And yeah, I think we are done here. Like I said, this is going to be covered in trees, probably. And we're not going to be able to see them very well anyway, so I just wanted something cool to be in the distance. And I think we can now. Where are you? There you are. We can now put it back down. Actually, you know what? Let's look at from the front. All right. I don't think I will have too many valleys. Maybe we will, but I don't really wanna. So let's not have valleys. So let's just leave like 1 meter. Right. And it bothers the shit out of me that this stuff is, there we go, that this stuff is actually, oh my god, it's moving way too fast. That this stuff is way too bright. So we are going to take down the directional light to 1, probably 2 maybe. There you go. So that's where you were seeing, we started this whole thing with the lightnings in the background, and it was daylight, right? Because it was like this, so it looked weird. So now it makes more sense. Wait, what happens if we overblow it? Woo! We're in heaven. Okay, so yeah, I think we're fine. This is our thingy of stuff. I'm going to fine tune it later, but for now I think we are done. And yeah, have a good one. Thank you very much for watching, for listening to me blabber about stuff. I honestly really am very thankful that, yes, I want to say thank you, and it's gonna turn into Minecraft shortly, right? Yes, it did. Um, so yeah, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you stuck with me all this far, if you want to hear me blabber about something, a particular subject or a topic that you wanna that you want me to cover, please write it down in the comments. And you know, I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for sticking up sticking up, no, for sticking out with me, or I don't know how to say that correctly, for being there with me all this time. So yeah, thank you very much. Bye bye.